sequence you're going through now, you're generally going through a pretty sort of standard club, then grip and pinch, so you're getting yourself in a pretty good position. On occasions, it's a little bit too upright with the spine, as we said, but for the most part, towards the end now, we were getting that spine over the wall a little bit more now.
Because it feels a bit sort of when I've hit it well,
Yeah.
I've been leant over a lot more.
Yes,
because I felt that, but it feels unnatural.
Exactly. If you look at the right-hand image there now, I would say you certainly look shorter, if that makes sense, because you're not so high, just because you are leaning over a little bit more. Now, that's not leaning over in a bad way. The nearer your shoulders are to the ground, the more likely you are that club's going to come back to the golf ball. If you stand up too much and get too risky this way, that's when a lot of times in squash and badminton you get down low with your knees and you're more this way, whereas golf you're tall in your legs and you're tilting over a little bit more. So it's a slightly different position there, okay? But with your golfing, we said before, that left wrist was going back in what we call a hooded or a bowed position. You see the club face now pointing back towards the mirror, and you've kind of got what I call a right-sided golf swing, okay? By that I mean, if we step to the golf ball now, your golf swing is basically a circle, so if that's sort of roughly where the golf ball is there now, and that's not quite the centre circle, but close enough, and we'll put the same there now on that one there, okay? As you swing back, okay, you move now to your right side, and then never come back to where the golf ball is at impact. So your club now is always going to be hitting the golf ball on this side of the circle, thus on the way up. So you hatch up on the golf ball. So as you say, you side across the top of it, okay? And when we try to swing your club through this way, you're sort of stepping after me because you're not used to being this side of the blue line. You're always that side of the blue line. But that's kind of the next stage to work on. For me, we want to make sure that we get this hinge of the wrist better. As we can see, that club there, that club now we can see is kind of pointing a bit more back towards the camera, okay? So in a better position here, if I go back to where you are, there, that's where the kind of too blurred there, but we can see that club now is pointing, we can see the face of the golf club. So at least here now, we are able to get that club back to the ball. The problem, as we said, if that's the golf ball, there, you can see how this side of the golf ball you are. So unless you get onto the left side, you're going to be hitting the golf ball with an upward hit. And the more up you swing the club, the more you hit the up at the top of the golf ball, and then it just becomes a side at the top, as you said. So as you come back to the golf ball now, club face is pretty square, because your club's sort of hitting the ball now. You see that club rising up here quite a lot. The ball just shoots low. But that's something we're going to sort of develop on, I think, more for this next session. If we can get your practice now, get that club, it's kind of, it's a bit blurry, but hopefully you can see that club is more this way with the shaft as opposed to where you were there. I think we'll go back into your backswing, you might be able to see. There we go. We can see more of the club face now pointing this way. Your watch is sort of visible to some extent, where there it's kind of it's gone round the corner somewhere and you can't see it, okay? So that for me is going to be the main thing to focus on. Get that wrist hinge in a good position, okay? Because once you're there, we're giving information to the golf ball we want to give a square club face or club face pointing straight. Then once that becomes kind of second nature, you haven't got to start thinking about it. If we start trying to get your body to work here and move this way before that's done, you'll do none of it. You'll go back to sort of force habit there with the club face, not move to the left side, and just be hooking it or topping it as you go through. So it's kind of building up the pieces, sort of jigsaw style. Get that club face there. So I'd encourage, if you can, even if you can't get the rain with the weather being, it has been horrendous last week, I admit that I've been trying to stop some myself, but if we can just say a couple minutes a day in front of a mirror, short the club in the house if needs be, just get that checkpoint. So it kind of becomes a more natural feeling. So you can, okay, right, I can kind of do that without even thinking about it. It's just like grab a club and douche, not done, rather than trying to sort of have to feel what it feels like. So when you then get to a golf ball next time, if that club is in a better position, your focus then can transfer to something else. Because the golf swing, as we said before, if you start the golf swing here now at, well, basically, let's say 0.4 of a second there, you're making contact with it probably less than 2.5 seconds. There you go, 2.2. So it's, I don't know, less than 2 seconds making contact with that golf ball from start to finish. In that time, what can you think of really? Is not much. One swing thought's all we can really sort of cover with, really. So get that hinge of the wrist, get that club.
The main thing I have concentrated on is sort of keeping this arm straighter.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and lock it though, because if you try and keep it straight,
but no, it's more to keep doing this.
because you see when you've done that, there's no wrist hinge, you see. So I would say with your left arm, you don't want to bend left arm, but you don't want to try and keep it straight, if that makes sense. The way we keep our arms straight is by hinging the wrist, because what will happen is, if I hinge my wrists here now, if the hinge comes here, there's no need to bend the arm. Okay, you're not going to go and whack yourself with a golf club. Okay, that's not really going to be a natural move. But if you try to keep the arm straight, you tend to get a bit tight and a bit locked. Somewhere around here, the club has to go. And what we'll see a lot of times is we'll see that happening, and then you're not conscious of what your wrists are doing. They'll tend to go into what you feel natural, which is that way. So you may keep the left arm straight, but then you're going to get the club like that. When you come back to the golf ball, he's still going to be coming back pointing left. So I would focus on more, get that. You get the hinge of the wrist, this arm will stay straighter. And it hasn't got to be locked, was the rehinging, but that to me will be fine. It's a comfortably extended left arm. We're trying to get width there. That's fine. It's definitely not straight, but it's okay. Okay? Yeah, that'll be better potentially, but I'd rather you see this than trying to lock it out and get really tight. Because tension in any part of the body slows you down for one, restricts your speed, and the control of the golf club's lost. So it's not just sort of collapse and pick up, but don't try and push it out there. Let that hinge of the wrist. This is where the bend happens in the golf swing as it goes back with the end of the club on the shoulders. It's hinging there. If we add this to it too much, it's a problem. But if you try to lock it, you get stuck. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I have a couple more to finish off with it, and then we'll next lesson.